All right, so welcome back to Map 104 or Map 04. So we're gonna have the final exam left though, and there were two practice final exam that I stick with that, and it's replicate a final exam question generally when we can do all of them. So I see a lot of struggle that people work on the practice final exam that I post on Blackboard. So, so I really want you guys to be able to work on this problem, and that's basically from the math final exam practice. Math final exam is pretty similar to the practice final exam that we have in the math department. Have to be exact same order. So question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There will be total 8 questions. Have to be exact same order like that. And so each question's going to have like a certain asking to compute the mean, the median, and standard deviations. And question number 2 was a little bit challenging. With 2A, with 2B was easy. So my recommendations is that we're gonna work on the order, right? But since on the final exam that we can't go forward backward, I believe, so we just literally have to work out for this problem from the very beginning of that. Okay, so we need to know how to compute the mean, the medians, and the standard deviation. Okay, and I believe that I post basically the grade on Blackboard except those who did not submit the work or those who submit the work late on Blackboard. So you might not see the grade, but usually when you have them, you're basically going to see the grade. The fact is that we have discussions with the chair on Monday, and then we sort of feel like grading on Blackboard is more difficult. So for the final exam that we're gonna take the final on the web work, okay? If you ever heard of the web work, it's literally something that we have right here. For example, so we're gonna go to type in web word, and you're gonna click on that, and so literally it's there for the BCC, and so this is the web page that we'll be using for the semester. I haven't really created ones for that part because I feel like it's not necessary, but now we need to use those informations for the final exams. And it's really important that we have this done. So generally, this is the website that I can log in, and it's literally that we're going to use this for the rest of the semester. And we literally need to click on a certain website, for example, a certain web page. Let's say we go to map 23 for a different person for that part. So then you need to have to enter the usernames and password and so on and so forth. So we're going to take care of that on Friday, this Friday. We're going to lock in the informations, and then we're going to practice to do some question like that. The reason behind that, because I have a lot of trouble grading the work part, but so this website going to help me grade the entire final exam, so I don't have to do anything for that. So I'm sorry. Yeah. So That being said, if you have any challenge, I will show you how to do so next Tuesday. So next Tuesday, we're gonna see each other one more time. We're gonna get you to the website, and then we're gonna take the final exam over there. Okay. So you will have around maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes to take the final exam. If you have a combination letter from whatever it is, and then you can send them to me so that we can so that I can give you 1.5 times that you have, and so they will basically set up the time for us. Okay. So we finished the second exam, and we generally just have all the material done. And for those of you who actually do not catch up the material that we have with Chapter 9, we have a Chapter 9 summary. We have practice question for Chapter 9. We have 2 videos that we have, Part 1 and Part 2. And also that we going to have a final exam review today and Thursday. So the final exam will very similar to that. So let's say question number 1, we create the mean, the median, and compute a sample standard deviation. Okay, so that will be the first question that we can see on the final exam for sure, 100%. So what's going on for that part is we need to know what the first question looks like. So this is a practice final exam too. Just do this one first because I feel like this one is a little easier. So the following data set that gives 6, 2, 1, 4, and 15. On the final exam, the first question is going to give us 5 single number. Okay, so the final exam. So this is the final exam format. We need to know what it is and to do so. So the first question, we need to compute the question number 1. Okay, so we need to compute the mean, the median, and standard deviation. Okay. And the second questions was something later on. So this is what the exam format looks like. Okay, so they have to work exactly the same format like that. This will not go different from what we have. So how can we compute a mean standard deviation? So the question is going to give us 5 different numbers. So for the question that we have was 6, 2, 1, 4, and 15, right? So 6, 2, 1, 4, and 15. So we're gonna given by n equal to 5. So we have 5 different numbers. So we're gonna put them down, n equal to 5. And and after that, we're going to have to make this make the table for this. And the first step that we're gonna put down the data, right? So the x, we're gonna put down the x, right? So I'm gonna put down all these data sets. So the first one was 6, the second one was 2, and and the third one is 1, and the fourth one is 4, and the last one is 15. You just do it like that. Okay, so however, that we need to compute x bar first, right? So we don't have the x bar, so we need to compute the average for all of this. So how can we compute the average? So the average is literally that we need to add them up and then we divide it by n. So when the question is asking us to do the average, so you're gonna get 4 points on the final exams. Okay, so computing the average or the mean is going to give us 4 points on the final exams. So all we need to do was we're taking x bar equal to, so let me just do that again. So we're going to have x bar. And so this is the thing that we learned from chapter 3. Remember, the final exam will be starting from chapter 3 up to chapter 9. So every chapter we have a question like that. So this question that we're going to add of these 6 plus 2 plus 1 plus 4 and plus 15. And after that, we divide it by 5. So that, because we have 5 different data sets for this, so we divide it by 5. And we do it on a calculator. Apparently that we're going to use the calculator that we have. So where's the calculator? So the calculator is right here. Okay, so you can use few calculators, doesn't matter, but again, that we have to use them. If you don't have a calculator, so this is going to be the version that you can download it on your phone as well. You can download it on your calculator. It's, this calculator on the computer. So what we have here was we need to add like 6 plus 2 plus 1 plus 4 plus 15. So you have to hit equal, right? If you don't hit equal, then you're going to get it wrong. And then you hit enter, and then we divide it by 5. So the answer for that is 5.6. So that will be the average. Remember that we have to keep all the decimal number, and usually that you have to do so. 5.6. Go to 5.6. Okay, so after that, we're gonna put them down right here. On the second column that we're gonna take, this is the 5.6. And we do the same thing for the second box. Remember, when we're making a chart, it should be relatively easy, but it might give me a lot of trouble because I'm using this one. Okay, so 5.6, and then 5.6, and then 5.6, and finally we have 5.6 right there. And after that, we're going to subtract them, right? We're going to take the data, subtract the mean. So this is what we have earlier. Data, subtract the mean. So we're going to do like a 6 minus 5.6 on this column. And we got 0.4. Right? And then we're going to do this calculation. So 6 minus 5.6, we got 0.4. And we got, we take 2 minus 5.6. And we got the answers, which is 2 minus 5.6. And the answers will be negative 3.6. Okay. And then we keep doing that. And then we also have to take 1 minus 5.6. So the answer for that is negative 4.6. And then we take 4 minus 5.6. We just subtract them. We're going to get negative 1.6. And finally, that we're going to have 15 minus 5.6. And you're going to get a really big positive. So when we do the math for that, 15 minus 5.6, and we got the answers, which is 9.4. Okay, so after that, we're going to square them. We're going to square each of this. Remember, when you square them, that we don't really care much about whether or not we're going to get a positive, negative for that part. So if you have positive, you just take positive, you square them. We're going to get 0.16. If we have a negative terms, that we do square that and then get a positive as well. So this is 0.16. And the second one, we're going to take 3.6 square. You're going to get 12.96. Right? And then you're going to take 4.6 squared. Remember that we ignore all the negative signs. We're going to get 21.16. And then we keep going until we finish the list. And we're going to take 1.6 squared. Remember, we ignore the negative side from the column number 3. We're going to get 2.56. And finally, we're going to take 9.4 squared. 9.4 squared. And we're going to get 88.36. And then we're going to add them up, right? So this is the square. Remember that we're going to hit the x square for that one. This is the square. So that means that we're going to add them up for the total. So the total should be, so we add up all of this. Remember, the first step when you compute the standard deviations is to write down the sample data sets, right? And after that, we're going to go to the second column. That will be the average. And after that, we subtract them, we square them, and we take a total. So it's 0.16 plus 12.96 plus 21.16 plus 2.56 and plus 88.36. And we got the answers, which is 125.2. Okay, and then after we take a total, then we have to divide it by 4 because n minus 1. Remember that we need to divide it by n minus 1. So n minus 1 in this case, or you take n is 5, and then we minus 1 is 4. So we divide it by 4 because the questions on the final exam give us 5 different data sets. So we divide it by 4, and we take 125.2 over 4. You get 31.3. 31.3. So 31.3. But this is not a final answers because we need to take the square root for that. So remember, the final answers for the standard deviation, so we call S, we need to take the square root. Okay, so the square root for 31.3, we're going to do the calculator. So 31.3. So we're going to do it on a calculator. We're going to take the square root of 31.3. We got 5.6 or 5.59 to be exact. So we're going to get 5.59. Okay, so finally, so let me just rewrite this letter. So this is 31.3, and we're going to keep that. So 31.3, so you take the square root of that. Oops. I always have trouble writing this down for some reason. Yeah. And finally that we need to, so the mean, the median, so remember that we just only compute, this is what we call the mean, right? Or the average, right? The mean, and this is what we call the standard deviation. So this is standard deviations. Okay, but we don't really have the median. So what is the median? That you need to rearrange the data set in order. So arrange the data set. The data sets, okay? So that we're gonna add them up 6 plus 2 plus 1 plus 4 plus 15. No, we don't add them up. So we arrange them. So the first data set that we have, the smallest one is 1, 2, 4, 6, and 15, right? So after we rearrange it, we're gonna pick the middle data set. Remember, the final exam we're gonna give us 5 different numbers. So the middle data set will be the median. So the median that we have here will be equal to 4. Um, the median has nothing to do with the average. So the average is add them up divided by 5. The median, we don't add them up. We don't do any calculation for that. We just arrange the data set and pick the median number, and that's pretty much the thing that we have. Okay, so question 1 is done. It's gonna be very similar format for that. Very similar, except for the fact that we're gonna get given by different numbers and different values for this. So the question gonna ask us to do the mean, median, and compute a sample standard deviation. Question number 2 was something that we 2A was something that we should pay a little more attention. So question number 2, it's different format for that part. So question number 2 will be 10 points. So each part going to be 5.5 points. You can literally check that. The first question is going to give us 14 points. I did not put data points, so that should be 14 points. So this part, I will tell you this will be 14. Compute the mean will be 4 points, right? 4 points. Compute the median is 2 points. You don't have to compute, just find the median for that. So that'll be 2 points. And compute the standard deviation, that will be 8 points. So the total will be 14. So computer standard deviation number going to be 8 points. So that's going to be a lot of points that we don't want to lose out on the final exam. And this is going to be very, very important. So after we finish this question, do the format like that. I mean, you don't actually need to do that. I haven't seen the final exam format so far, but it will be very similar to what we have. And that'll be 4, 2, and 8. So that'll be 14 in total. The question number 2, that'll be 5 point each for each part, right? 5 point for each part. And we're going to get part A and part 2. So the part A of the questions will be very similar to what we have right here. And except for the fact that it's going to make it a little different. So I'm going to make it a little bigger letters and make it look nicer. So, and this is what you might see on the final exam. Okay, so the first part of the questions will be asking us to look for the keyword. So the keyword in this case is clear. That will be the and. Remember the final exam, they're going to work on the same thing. But you got to be really careful the final exam. They might mess up the part, but the keyword still be the same. So 2, 8, the keyword will be the and. Then we need to multiply 2 values for that part. Okay, so we need to pick which one is the conditional probability and which one will be the given. Okay, so A and B will be the probability of bio and graduate, right? So we're gonna get the bio. So in order to avoid any confusions, we call A, and you don't. Some of you maybe skip that step. We have the biology. So the probability, we take the A will be the biology majors, right? And then we have B will be graduate from BCC. So those are things that we call them like that. Okay, so after that, we're gonna have to define, so the probability of the A would be the biology is 0.25, right? And then the probability of B graduations from BCC is 0.2. And now we gotta be really careful for part 3. The probability of 65 students who major in biology graduate from BCC. So what does that mean? So 65% of students basically coming from a student of the biology, right? So this is the given. So graduate from BCC, so the graduations will be the probability of B given 8, right? So we are being told that that person's is graduate, um, uh, who going to graduate from business, basically the people who major in biology. So we're being told that persons, those people who actually major in that. However, that we're going to write them there as the P of B given 8, so that's going to be 0.65, right? So what the question is asking us, the question is ask to compute the probability of 8 and B, right? So how can we write down the n? Sometime that we need to know, but in this chapter that we don't necessarily have to write down like that, but just put in the, this is n. So the n represent the upside down u. If you don't write it down, that's fine, but on a final exam, the format is sometimes also another story for this. So we're gonna take, we're gonna multiply too. So which one that we should multiply? And so this 65% also the graduations from BCC, correct? But it's coming from mainly on biology majors. So the biology major will be the given, right? So this we have 2 graduation rate. Usually a bigger number, remember, usually the bigger number will be the conditional probability, right? So it's include 2 different types of information that we can see right there. So this is including the biology and BCC. So that 65% is literally the thing that we need to take to multiply, right? And so this solely on biology and this solely on the rate of the graduations, right? But this 65% also the graduation rate, right? So this is the percent of the students who graduate from BCC, but only from the bio majors. So meaning that we need to get rid of 20% right there. So we're gonna cross them out. Okay. So in other words, you're gonna multiply these 2 numbers. So we're gonna rewrite the format. P of B given A times P of A. And then we're going to take 0.65 times 0.25. And then we do the calculation for that part. Remember that all of these values will be given us in terms of percentage. So how can we convert to decimal number? We're going to take 25 divided by 100. We got 0.25. This is what I wrote. And we have 65% you divide it by 100, you get 0.65, right? And then also we have 20% you divide it by 100, you get 0.2. This is what we have. So again, that we're going to cross out a thing that is not a given, that is similar to the conditional probability, but remember that we need to take the conditional probability, you multiply by the given. So the thing that we have is 0.65 times 0.25. We're going to get the final answers would be equal to 0.1625. Okay. And I believe this is going to be the hardest question that you have. And so 0.1625, if I convert it to percentage, it will be 16.25%. Okay, so if I want to convert a decimal number, 0.1625 to percentage, I multiply by 100, I got 16.25%. Okay, so this is the thing that we need to do, and very likely that I will tell you what the exam format looks like, but this is what we usually have to do. So we just do one single calculations for part A, question number 2, and part B. Okay, so the reason why the question number 2A is hard because the keyword is and. Then we need to multiply 2 numbers and 2 decimal numbers. So we need to make sure that we convert to the percentage all of this will be in terms of percentage, and then we convert to a decimal number before we multiply them. Okay. So again, that so how do you know which one is conditional probability? So remember that 65% would be the conditional probability because it gives us two different types of the information. So the one is the biology, and the second one is the graduate from PCC, right? So this has to be the conditional probability. Okay, and how do you know which one is a given? So generally, something that go first will be a given. Sometimes go followed by the keyword given if so on and so forth. Um, so let's say of those people who graduate, so that will be the given. Okay, so the given information in this case will be the biology. So this will be the given. So you need to multiply by 25% because this is the given information. So this is the given. So let me just repeat that again. The given on a final exam usually followed by the keyword of those who given by so and so forth. So the given information will be followed by given info will be followed by of those people who graduate. I can't rewrite a sentence like of those people who major in biology. 65% of students graduate from PCC, right? So this is gonna be this asking us this is the given. So then you're gonna pick the given probability in this case. That'll be 25% to multiply with 65%, and we're done. Of given or if. Okay, so this 2A is actually one of the hardest questions that we have on the exam. So 2B is actually too easy that we're gonna put them down on in this case. So for question number 2B, all we need to do was, let me just change the letter size to 16 and we can work through it. And we also have the thing. So what is the keyword for that? So the keyword in this case, so let me just point it out. The keyword for part A, that will be the and. The keyword for part B, that basically the or. Okay. So that being said, for question number 2B, that we need to add and subtract, right? So the probability of the retired we call A, the male we call B, retired male that would be the N. So this is the retirement. So this is the N, right? So the information that we have here. So let me just put them down. We call A would be the probability of the retired, and we call B would be the probability of males, and we have A and B will be 15% probability. So we're gonna have to write them down. So the probability, usually you don't have to do so, I believe. Just let me see the format and see what it is. So 0.3, and the probability of the males that we have is 0.52, and the probability of the retired. And now, oops, I should use A and B, so just want to be fair. So the B is 0.52. I'm sorry, I call A will be the retired, so the probability of A is 0.3, 0.52. The P of A and B, so A and B will be 0.15. Okay, and we just rewrite this. Okay, so the smallest number will be the N. And after that, we're going to compute the probability of A or B, right? Basically, the probability of P of A or B. And then we just add up two big and then we subtract the smallest. That would be the easiest calculation that we can do. And minus 0.15. and we can just take that. Usually, in terms of percentage, you don't really have to convert it. So I apologize. I just do too much work for that. So you can take 30% minus 52% and subtract 15%. So for that example, you can take 30 plus 52 minus 15. So we got the answer is 67%. So I apologize for that. We don't necessarily have to convert to percentage. So, or we're going to put them down as this letter. Okay, or. Remember, on part B, always asking us to do the or. Again, that we don't have to convert to percentage. Sorry, to the decimal number. I just do too much work for that. So all we need to do, the probability of A is 30%. I just write 30%. The probability of B is 52%. So I just write 52%. The probability of A and B, so that would be 50%. So I just write 50%. And that's pretty much the thing. And then I just add up 2 big and subtract the smallest. And that's pretty much the thing that we need to do. So or will be the letter U is pretty much like that. Or. And when we have the and will be the thing that we have right here. So this we call the end. And this is the end. All right. And this is all we need to do. Now we're gonna go to the question number 3. Remember that the 2a, that's gonna give us 5 point. You're gonna pick 2 numbers, just multiply, get rid of 1. So which one that we're gonna need to get rid of? You need to look at conditional probability, usually given by 2 different informations, and followed by the biggest probability that we have. The graduation will be something that we crossed out because we can't multiply the same thing. So this is also the graduations, but those coming from the biology majors, this is the graduations coming for the entire school campus. That would be 20%. So we're gonna get rid of that. And then we multiply 65% and 25%. Before we multiply them, we need to convert to the percent from percentage to decimal number. And then we're gonna get a final answer, which is 16.25. For the second question, so the keyword is or, meaning that we need to add up 2 big and then we subtract the smallest. So 2 big percentages that we have is 30%, and then we're gonna add 52%, subtract 50%, so we're gonna get 67%. So this is the format that you might see on the final exam that we need to do. Okay, but usually they just add up 2 big and subtract the smallest. So now we're gonna go to the next part. So that would be questions number 3. Question number 3 will be followed by the keywords. So I'm gonna copy and paste. Just want to be fair. And question number 3, I just need to copy that and paste it on this side. So I'm gonna copy on this part and paste it. Okay, just want to say sometimes for that, and we're not gonna spend times working on for this type of question. And I'm gonna write the solutions over here. So this is the question number 3. The question number 3 going to give us sort of I'm not sure you're missing so many, but anyhow, so let's check them. And let's see what it looks like. Why are you missing so many columns? Okay. Anyhow, I'm gonna delete that. Yeah, so this is what I have. Let me make it smaller. Okay. Probably I make it smaller, so we're gonna lose some. All right. So anyhow, so this is the thing that we have, and now we're gonna see what the question for the what is the probability of the business. So remember, in a final exam, you don't have to add up the total. So the final exam, this is the total of everything. So let me just point it out for you. So this is the total of everything. And you're going to use this number very often on the final exam. And we're going to divide it by this number a lot. So this total of everything. Right? We're going to use this number to answer the questions, right? So what is the question that we're going to see? The part 8, you will be given by 5 different points. So A, B, C, D, E. The total points would be 2, 2, 2, 2, and 4. Okay, so that'll be 12 points in total. So for this question, we're going to get 12 points in total. 12 points in total. And each part going to be like 2, 2, 2, 2, 4. Okay, so the first part of it that we're gonna do the part 8, we're gonna compute the probability of the business. Okay, so the probability of the business, what should we do? We're gonna take the ratio between the business over the total of everything. So the business that we have, then we have to go all the way to the right. Right? So this is a total number of business. So I'm going to take that. Remember that you cannot take 115 over 1259. This is 115 just the number of people who major in business for the first year, right? They're the freshmen. So we need to consider all of them. So first year, a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. So total for that is 421. So this is a total of all business majors. So I take that. So the ratio that we're going to foul is that we're going to take 241, and then we divide it by 1259. Okay. 1259. So usually when you do it's on a paper and final exam, then we don't necessarily have to do so. If you just give me the answer like that, I give you full credits. But for some reason on a final exam, I just want to make sure that we have the point. You need to divide it, right? So 1421 over 1259. So we're gonna get the answer, which is 0.334. Keep me 3 decimal number, and we're gonna get 0.334 for this part. So you do on the calculator, and then you found that this is the answer is equal to 0.334. Okay, so just compute the math for one single line, and you're gonna get the answer, which is 0.334. So for part B, I need to compute the probability of the junior and the probability of the junior. So we're gonna do it right here, the probability of the juniors. So how can we do so? Again, that we're gonna look at the junior. So how can we find the junior? The total number of juniors is right there, right? The total of juniors. Yeah. So those are 300 will be the total number of the junior, and then we're gonna take that to divide it by a total of everything. Remember that very likely that you have to divide it by total of everything. On the final exam, you can do the same thing. You take 300 and then we divide it by 1259 and you get it done. Okay. So we divide it by 1259. Usually when you see a question like that, you just stop right here and on final exam, but I give you full credit for that. But just want to make sure that we get used to the format that we need to compute that percentage. So we're going to take 300, we divide it by 1259, and we got to find the answers. And we're going to get 0.238, right? 0.238. So the reason behind that we need to do so because the coding for the final exam, just like I did on the practice final exam, so that if you keep the answers with the percentage, very likely that the software doesn't understand what it is. right? So what we can do is that we need to divide them and then put and keep them as the decimal number. So this is all we need to do. So now we're gonna go to the next part. The next part is asking us to look for the bio and senior. So biology and senior, so that will be 14. So let me just use the arrow to indicate the thing that we have. So this is the bio senior, right? This is the bio senior. I think I need to write it differently. So this is the bio senior. All right. So the bio senior, bio and senior. So again, when we come to the end, so we need to take the intersections between the biologies and seniors that we got 14. And the question is going to ask us for part C will be the probability of the bio and senior. So this will be equal to, we're going to take 14 over 1259, right? So bio senior is 14, so we have 14 students. And then we divide it by 1259. So we're going to get this done. Okay, so we divide it by 1259. Usually you just leave the answer like that again, but on the final exam, because the coding, the software doesn't understand what we are trying to do in this part. So we're gonna take 14s over 1259, and we're gonna get the answers, which is 0.011. Okay, 0.011. So that will be the final answers. So this is 0.011. Okay, so for part, so each question going to be 2, 2, 2, 2, 4, except for the last question that you're going to get 4 points. So all of this question going to be 2, 2, 2, 4. So the part D that I want to look for the probability of the biologies, and given by, so the part D that we have here, the part D, so that would be the biologies of the probability of the bio and the things. Okay, given that she is a senior. So given, when it comes to the given, then we need to circle this, right? So given by she is senior, so we need to, oops, I'm sorry. We need to box the column that is given. Remember, the given, we need to box the column that is a given, and the total number of the given that we can check is 297, right? 297. So we're going to take that.
63 divided by 297.
So the 297 is the given. The given is followed by the keyword given for sure, and this is the thing that we need to box them, right? So the probability of the given that we have, so this is the given probability. So we need to find the probability of the bio. So we need to solve for the probability of the bio, given that person the senior, right? So we're not going to look at this junior, sophomore, freshman, the freshman. So we only look at a senior number, right? So the total number of seniors, that'll be 297. So we're going to take that and put it on the denominator. So for this case, so we're going to take that and put it on the denominator. So we're going to put it on the denominator first. We're going to get the total number of a senior will be 297. Remember that we need to divide it by the given. So the given in this case, 297. And on top of this, we're going to take a look at the biology. So meaning that we need to go from this, right, go from here, right? So you're going to get 14 over 297. Let me see the last column. It'd be senior or psychology. So seniors or psychology. It doesn't matter. Okay. Right. So this question is relatively hard. So we're going to point the fingers right there. And so this is a heavy error. So we need to look at the senior first. That'll be 297. And then the biology, that'll be 14 over 297. we finish. But remember, on a final exam format, they don't understand the code, doesn't understand the fraction of 14 over 97 because the machine is dead. The only thing that is alive is a human being. So I will not be here. But so we need to divide them. So 14 over 297. So we got the answer, which is 0.047. Right. So that will be the thing. And we're going to put them down. This is 0.047. Okay. So finally, we're going to have a last questions. What is the probability of the senior or psychology? So for this part, you're going to add up two big, and then we subtract the smallest. And so in other words, so senior or psychology. So let me just copy and paste for these questions first and let you know what it is. So we need to compute, this guy is seniors or psychology. So this is a thing that we need to do, right? And so for this part, what should we do? So senior or psychology. So we need to senior. Where's my senior? So senior is 297, right? And then the psychology. So we're gonna box the psychology one that we have right there. Okay. So we're gonna box the two. And so all we need to do in this case, so we look at the senior or psychology. So we ignore the added columns. So now we're gonna do what? So we're gonna take the sum of remember that we always have to divide it by total of everything, right? So the total of the business, smile, and senior, and junior, except for the given, except for the conditional probability that you don't divide it by 1259. Very likely that we need to divide it by 1259. The first two probability going to ask us to look at the either the total row and then the total column. So one of them we have to look at the row, and one you have to look at the column. The other one, the end, you take the joint, and then the given that we have to divide it by given, joint divided by the given. And then when it comes to the OR, that we're gonna take 297 plus 370 and minus 96, and then we divide it by 1259 in this case. Remember that we take a total of these two, so a total of the psychology is 370 plus a total of the senior, so that'll be 297, and then we subtract the joint, so that would be 96. And the final answers for this part is 1259, and we're gonna get this done. So this is going to give us the answers, which is equal to, so we're going to take 297 plus 370 minus 96, right? So that's going to be 568 over, so 297, I'm sorry. So 297 plus 370 minus 96, and we're going to get 571. So the numerator that we're going to get is 571. And then we divide it by 1259. And so we're going to get a final answers for that part. And you're going to get divided by 1259. And so the answer for that is 0.453, 0.4454, right? So I'm going to put them down as equal to 0.454. Okay, and that's pretty much the thing that we need to do. So let me just repeat that again. So what is the process? What you're going to do for that? So whenever you see the probability of the n, the keyword is n, so let's say bio and senior. So the keyword is n. What should we do for that part? Then we're going to take the joint, and we divide it by everything, right? So take the joint. So the joint, let's say the bio and senior, So we're going to take the joint between the bar and senior, that'll be 14, and then we divide it by everything, so that'll be 1259, okay? And then we divide it by everything. So this is the keyword that we should know. And the total of everything, remember. Usually that we have to divide it by total of everything for all of this part of question, except for part D on the final exam. The part D going to give us the total of, so the part D going to give us the keyword given. So in that question that we do not divide it by 1259, I mean, we do not divide it by the total of everything. So again, when it comes to A and B, we'll take a number of join, and then we divide it by total. When it go to the probability of the conditional probability, so A given B, for example, so what should we do? We need to take the joint between A and B, right? And then we divide it by B, the total number of B. Okay, so we divide it by the given. All we have to do that. So we divide it by the given for this. And so we finish. So this is a thing that we need to put them down. You divide it by B, the number B. Okay, so we need to remember that one. So finally, that we're gonna have the probability of A or B, right? So what should we do? We're gonna add up 2 big and subtract the joint, and then we divide it by the total of everything for that part. So what we need to do on this type of question, we're going to take A plus the total of A, right? The total A plus B minus the N, minus the joint. I'm bringing out space a little bit. Okay, so A plus B and minus the joint. Okay, and subtract the joint, then you divide it by the total. So the OR, it's really pretty easy to get a point. So all we need to do, just if you can see the 2 columns, the box 2 column, right? In the box 1 row and 1 column, and then you add up the total of these 2, and then we subtract the join, and then we divide it by a total of everything, and then we finish that. So remember, this is a total of A plus B, the total of the row plus the total of the column, and then we subtract the join, and then we divide it by a total of everything. Remember, the total of everything has to be the total. In this case, that we want to finalize. So very likely that we divide it by the total, except for part D, where the conditional probably shows up that we need to divide it by the given. The given in this questions with 297. All right, so that is the thing. Then we're gonna go to the next questions. So remember, this question is gonna be 12 point. The question will be I'm sorry, I go on to a different practice finder exam. Remember, there was 2 practice finder exam. We were working on a second. The second one was pretty the thing. We're gonna do the first ones on Thursday, and so I'm gonna make the folder for. I'm going to get rid of the practice finder exam because I don't see people actually understand the format and how to do so. So I feel like I just get rid of that. So the practice finder exam, it doesn't really show, since for some reason that we do not do it pretty well. So I'm gonna get rid of this practice finder exam, but what we need to do was I'm gonna make a new column. So for those of you who can do the practice finder exam for the first ones, I'm sorry, for the first ones, and then if you submit them, I'm gonna count this as the quiz. Okay, I'm gonna count this as a quiz, and so this is additional quizzes for us. If you get the lowest grade, and the lowest grade will be job, if you can do that one.
Professor?
Yeah.
Please, I think I did the first one, but I had 45. Did it add up?
Yeah, so actually, no, it doesn't. It doesn't add up to. It's just something that I don't think I checked the grade for most of you, and then actually nobody actually got more than 50. So that, the practice final exam, you're gonna fail the class if you do so. So I pretty much don't like the version because we need to get used to it, right? So sometimes it takes long. So this version doesn't look so good. And so let's say we gonna compute that, and then we go to the next questions, and then we compute it, and then go to the next questions. I mean, it's pretty much exactly the same order, right? 56%. It's just changing a number for that, and then we compute it, and so we go to. So the next question, you're gonna or the keyword is or, and you add up too big, and then subtract the smallest, and then the next part. Keep the answer with 3 or 4 decimal numbers. So the question's indicating that we need to divide by fractions, and it checks most of your work. You just write down the answer like that. So you need to write down the final answers. I apologize, but we need to write down the final answers in terms of the decimal point. So let's say we have 421. So then we have to do on a calculator, 421 over 1259. So this is the final we need to do, 0.334, for example. So you put them down, and so get it done. So it doesn't give us a total. So in this case, it's harder. But on a final exam, it should give us the total for that. So all we need to do, just don't worry about adding the total. The total will be given, just like this question. So this format doesn't look so good. But the reason why I have the Blackboard format, because it's keep changing a number. If you start a new section, you're gonna get the number changes. So each person gonna have different format, but I feel like it's gonna be too much for me to grade on a final exam. So it's changing a number, right? So when you go back to the questions, we have different values. When you go to the next one, we have different values. So those questions change. And when you go back to the next question, you're gonna get some different value for that part. And now we go to question number 4 in the final exam. Which part of the final exam do we have? Yeah, this is going to be the final exam that we see right there. No, this is a version. Is it? Oh my goodness! I actually do the different version for that. How is that possible? I actually do this version for some accidents reason. So I apologize. So it should be this version for question number 3. The same concept, right? So let's go to question number 4 that we have right here. So question number 4, let me just copy and paste. How many points on question number 4? There will be 9 points in the final exams. 9 points. So question 4 will be 5 points, 4 points for part A, and 5 points for part B. Okay. All right. So there'll be 2 parts. Actually 3 parts, right? So 2 points for part B and 3 points for part C. I will let you know what it is. Okay, so very likely the type of question that you're gonna see for question number 4 will be pretty much like that. So you will be given by the binomial. Okay, so I'm gonna make this bigger, and yeah, so the binomial for that part. A random sample of 15 college students in the US is drawn, right? So the question is going to give us, so when it comes to question number 4, we're gonna have this guy will be table 2, right? Table 2 NPR, so anyone still remember what it is. So we have on the second exam, we just have on the second exam. So the P usually will come with the percentage, right? So we need to convert it to the decimal number for this part. So the study shows that 25% of college students in the US live at home. So the P equal to 0.25. So you need to convert to percentage. Take a 0.25 and then you divide it by 100. We got 0.25. Okay. And then the n usually come with a whole number, so this is the n. The n will be equal to 15 that we can tell. So this is the n. Right? So this is the n. All right. So on the first part of the questions, let me just check them. The first part of the question is going to ask us, I don't want to go to a different version, I'm sorry. So what is the probability that at most 5 students in the sample live at home? So we need to look at part A. What is the probability of, so how many points that we're going to have on this part? We're going to have this question 4 points. Okay, 4 points. Okay, 4 points for this type of question. So what should we do when you see this question like that? Then we're going to use the 12. We'll go to the formula package, right? We go to 15, and then 0.25 would be this column, right? This column. So 0.25 will be this column. And then we're going to go to 15, so that will be a things right here, right? We started from 0.013. Let me just check that real quick for that. So yeah, this is 0.013. So we're going to copy. And so just want to make sure that people can see them. So I'm going to copy the entire column that we have right there. Okay. And then I'm going to paste it on this side. So you can see the probability, right? So, and then similarly, I'm going to copy the end so we can check them what it is. So this is the thing that we have. And I'm going to paste it. So you can see that this is the thing that we have. And yeah, just want to make sure that this is the thing that we have, right? So remember, the first one will be the end. So we have to go to the right box. You have to go to the end equal to 15. And this is 0.25, right? And this is the R. So the R will be on a second column, right? You can see that. R usually from 0 to 15 is simple as we have right there. Okay. And so this is the probability. So now we're going to see at most 5, right? At most 5, the probability of at most 5. Usually at most 5, you're going to count from 0 to 5, right? So we're going to add of R, basically from 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and plus 5. All right, so we add them up. So we're going to see that 0.013 plus 0.067 plus 0.156 plus 0.225. So the add up from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, we need one more. So 0.165. And that's pretty much the thing that we need to do. And we're going to get the values. So we're going to use a calculator for that, right? So 0.013, you're going to be careful with the decimal point. So the decimal point for the first one is 0.013. I mean, I have seen a couple of you who do it on the exam, and you forgot them. So this is 0.067. It's not 0.67. It's only 6.7%, right? So you're going to keep a decimal number like that and then do exactly the same thing on a calculator. And then you're going to get 0.156, 0.225, and 0.225. You're gonna be careful for that. So the answer for that is 0.686, right? So this question going to give us 4 points. Okay. For the next part, you will be asked to compute the expected values and the standard deviation. So you gotta be really careful on the final exams like that, because the format that we take is online. So you're gonna you have to know, which one. The second one always the question number 4 for the part B always ask us to compute the expected values, compute the expected numbers. You have to do this one. You have to do it. If you don't do it, you're gonna lose point. So this one gonna be 2 points. Okay, compute the expected number of the college students, whatever it is, live at home. Of the college students live at home. Okay, so remember this guy gonna be 2 point for sure. And so the formula for that is expected value will be means, right? That would be equal to n times p. So let me just put it for that part. You have to do this calculation. And then for part B, whenever you see 2 point for question number 4B, so you're going to ask us to do the expected number. So we're going to take n times p together. So the n that we have is 15 times the p is 0.25. So we're going to get the answer, which is 3.75, right? So we're going to take 15 times 0.25. You're going to get 3.75.
Professor, I think you added 0.225 twice.
Oh, did I have to add 0.225? Yes, so you get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so I apologize. So I'm missing 0.225 twice. Yeah, for that part. Yeah, today I have the eyes water, so I don't see them clearly. So I apologize for that. So we need to add 0.225 and with 0.165. Yeah, so this might be the mistake that we make, but you gotta be really careful. There will be no. I will see the exam format and let you know, but this is a thing that we want to do it on the final exams.
No, I said that you added it twice. You have 6 numbers now instead of 5.
Yeah, so we should have 6 because at most 5 we need to add from 0 to 5. So we need to add it twice for 0.225. And so on this part is 0.225 and 0.165. Right? So you're going to add from 0 to 6. I'm sorry, from 0 to 5, you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So we have to count 0 for that part as well. And we're going to get 0.851. Correct? So you have to count 0. So we're going to have 6 number. At most 5, you have 6. You add from 0 to 5. So I apologize. I didn't see. So the 3 and 4 are going to have, it's basically give it the same probability. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So add them. So the part C, this question going to give us 3. Remember, you have to do this exact same order because the final exam going to be like that. So the final exam for question number 4, the first questions always ask us to look for the probability given by the keyword at most, at least, no more than, no less than. You go back to the notes, and for the final exam review, and then I'm sorry, for the second exam review, I can see what it is, right? And finally, we're going to compute the standard deviations, right? So the standard deviation, then we need to do the square root, multiply something of the college students live at home, right? So this question going to give us 3 points as well. Okay, so what we need to do, the standard deviations will be the sigma, and I believe that this part will be NPQ, right? And what is the Q? The Q is 1 minus P. So that would be 1 minus 0.25. So that would be 0.75. Okay. And for this part, we just literally just take the square root of you're going to do 15, right? We're going to take 15 times the P is 0.25 times the Q is 0.75, and then we're done. All right, times 0.75. And then we're going to do it on a calculator. So the first step that we should do is to take the square root of 15 times 0.25 times 0.75. You close parenthesis, make sure you close parenthesis for that. Right? And then we're gonna get the answer, which is 1.67. So this question is gonna give us 3 points and apply the exam. So the total points that we have for the question number 4 is 9. So we're gonna get 1.67 or 1.68. And this is all we need to do. And that's pretty much the thing that we have for question number 4. And now we're going to go to the question number 5. What is the question number 5? Question number 5 will be pretty much like that. So I just copy and paste for question number 5. And let's see. Okay. So I make it a little bigger so that we can see what it is for 16. And okay, so now we're gonna do for that part was so what is this chapter about? So this chapter would be on table number 3 and 3A, right? We're gonna use table 3 and 3A for this part. Table 3 or 3A. So chapter 7, basically chapter 7. And how many points on the chapter? So there'll be 19 points, okay? 19 points on this type of question. So the first part of the question going to give us 10 points on the final exam. Pretty much the same thing that we have on the second one, on the second exam that we computed probably for that. And so no more than mean less than, right? Or we have we have a certain keyword that we need to know, no more than. So the sign less than would be followed by the keyword. So this is going to be like a less than, no more than, at least, right? I'm sorry, at most, I'm sorry about that. When we have a cycloid event. So that should be more than, and no less than, and also at least. So all of these keywords, so we're going to pay attention to that. So now what the question asking us was we need to compute a probability of X, right? So the question going to give us the mean and the standard deviation. So X no more than will be no more than 34,000, right? So this is a thing that we need to convert to the Z-score. And I believe that most of us does this part, but many of you actually got it wrong. So please watch the clip again if you saw it for like, I have trouble with the calculation. And many of you actually got it wrong. So we have the mean, in this case, was 32,500. I mean, this is a long time ago question, so don't take those numbers seriously. And it's just a question by itself. And of course that we're gonna, so the standard deviations will be 2,000. Okay. And now all we need to do in this case that we convert to the Z-score, right? How can we convert it? So we're gonna take the Z equal to the means. So the means that we have is 34,000. I'm sorry, the X 34,000. Subtract the means. So the mean is 32,500. And then after that, we divide it by 2,000. And then we're done. We're done for part 8. And we're done for the Z-score. So again, how can we do this calculation? You have to open the parentheses, even if I did not put them down. If we don't open the parentheses, you're going to do it wrong on a calculation like that. right? So we're gonna open and close parentheses so that we don't make mistakes on it, right? We're gonna take 34 and minus 32,500, and then we divide it by 2,000. So we got the answer, which is 0.75. So this is the z-score of 0.75, so I'm going to put them down as positive 0.75. Right? And then after that, we're going to go to table number 3, 8. Right? Why table 3, 8? Because this guy is positive. So we have a z plus. So we're going to go to table 3a. And so we're going to look at the value for table number 3a. And we can see that the value for 0.75, I believe, right? 0.75 was something that we can find the chart. So we're going to go to 0.7. I still see some people actually got it wrong on the second exam. So we're going to go to 0.7 and then 0.05. Remember, the z-score that we found on both part of the question should be relatively small. You get like 65.6 or 125.2, whatever. It doesn't make sense. So the z-score should be about it between -3 and +3. So again, you get something like -5.6, that is wrong, or positive 10.2, that is wrong. So the z-score, the maximum number that we have is 3.49. And then the minimum number that we can get is -3.49 as well. Right? So we're going to go to 0.7 and 0.05, and you're going to get the answer, which is 0.7734. So for this part, we're going to get 0.7734. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Do we have to subtract from 1? The answer is no, because when you have a sign less than, then that'll be the final answer is P. Whenever we have a sign greater than, then we're going to take 1 minus P. Okay, 1 minus P. As simple as that. So, that'll be the final answer. So we're going to look at a score. You get this part. For the part B of the questions, the part B will be asking us. So the part A without the N, remember, there's no N for part A. We only have the N for part B. So remember that we only have the N for part B. There's no N for part A. So let me just make it a little bigger. And okay. All right. So the part B of the question that we can check on. So the N will be 4. Remember, there'll be an N for part B. So you gotta be really careful for this part. So if the question gives us the N, then we have to use the transformation. So the transformation that we did for part A will be the Z equal to X minus the mean and divided by the standard deviation. So this question's going to give us 10 points in the final exam. Remember, 10 points for this part, 10, right? So it's not like a small number of points. It's 10 points for one single question for part A, and that'll be 9 points for another question for part B. Okay. So for part B was the Z equal to means X bar minus the standard deviation, the mean, and then we divide it by the standard deviation, and we multiply the radical N. Okay, so this is a transformation that we need to do for part B that we need to be responsible for. Okay, so we gotta be really careful. And the keyword for that is at least, right? So at least 33,000, so that will be the probability of X bar, at least mean greater than or equal to 33,000, equal to, so we're gonna have some something like that. And then the z should be greater than a certain number that we don't know. We're gonna figure out what it is, right? And for this type of question that we need to do was, again, that we need to apply the transformations. So that will be the z equal to x bar. Remember, x bar minus the mean divided by standard deviation times radical n. So this is a thing that we need to do. So what we have so far, we're going to take 33,000 minus the x bar is still be the same, so that'll be 32,500. So making sure that we open and close parentheses so that we don't make mistakes on it. And then we divide it by the standard deviation. So the standard deviation that we have is 2,000. And then we multiply, and then we multiply by radical n, right? So we multiply by radical n. So remember, what is the radical n? So the radical n in this case would be 4. So this is the n equal to 4, right? And the x is the keyword, at least 32,000. So let me just box the keyword so that we don't make mistakes on it. So this is the keyword that we need to pay attention to, right? At least 33,000, that should be greater than 33,000. And then we multiply by radical n. So radical n will be radical 4. Okay, and then we do it on a calculator so that we have to open the parentheses, take 33,000 minus 32,500, and then we divide it by 2,000, right? And then we times radical 4. So how can we do the radical term? So we're gonna heat the seconds, and then the x squared, and then we put down 4 and get equal, so we're gonna get 0.5, right? So since this one doesn't have a second decimal number, so I always keep 0.50, so I can have to go to the first column. But usually the final exam that we need to do so, you have to keep 2 decimal number for the z-score. Remember that. Why do we have to keep 2 decimal number for the z-score? Because the final exam going to give us 2 number for the decimal score. So keep 2 decimal number for z-score, right? Because the chart only gave us 2 decimal number like that. So after that, we're gonna put down this is 0.5, and after that, we're gonna read it on a chart. So 0.5 that we can use table number 3A. Again, this one still be positive because the z-score that we found is positive. So we're gonna go to 0.5. You're gonna get 0.6915, right? And so this guy still be positive. Table number 3A. And then we're gonna get the answers is 0.6915. But remember that we have a side greater than, so greater than meaning that we have to take 1 minus 0.6915, and we can figure out the value is, what is the value? 0.6915, right? So yes, 0.5 going to go to 0.5, and then 0.00, which is 0.6915 in this case. And then we subtract from 1, so we take 1 minus 0.6915. So the answer for that is 0.3085. All right, so this will be the final answers. There's no need to do any calculation for that. Okay, so this is the question number 5 that we have on the list. And that's pretty much the thing that we have to do for the first 5 questions. So now we're going to go to question number 6. Oh, okay, I just messed up the questions so far. The 5 should be here, but anyhow, we do different questions. The same type, exam 1, exam 2. They give us pretty much the same type of questions. So question number 6 that we have, I can do 1 question here, 1 question there, it doesn't matter. So remember that question number 5 will be this table number 3 and 3A, chapter 7. Then when we come to question number 6, so that will be on chapter 8. Right? Question number 6, that will be on chapter 8. And so question number 6. So that'll be chapter 8, right? Chapter 8, and then table 4. Why we know this is chapter 8 and table 4? We get a question going to give us the S. If we're lucky on the final exam, the question is going to give us the S, the sample standard ratios. So, and then the X bar is 145. And then we have the 95% confidence interval. Okay, and then we have the n equal to 6. So now we need to write down informations, right? N equal to 6. And after that, we need to put down the X bar equal to 145. Oops. And we have to have an S. Remember, what a question gives us the S. So that will be the T. It's always be the T on question on chapter 8, question number 6. Right? How many points are this question? So that'll be 10 points. I forgot to put that a point for this part. So the part 8, so that will be 10 points as well. So this part going to be 10 point. Okay, so this part going to be 10 point. And this part going to be 9 points, or part B. So that'll be 9 points. Okay. So, and we have a CI equal to 0.95. So CI in this case, that will be 0.95. Okay, so now what we need to do is just compute the error. So the E will be what? The E will be T times S over radical N. So I believe that most of us did this part of questions on a second exam, and most of you actually got it right. And I was so happy for that part. So remember, when it comes to the T, remember the snack that we have to do the T. When it comes to the T, that we have to do the degree of freedom. Right? So the degree of freedom is n minus 1. Right? So n minus 1 is 5. Remember that. The degree of freedom is 6 minus 1. So that'll be 5. And when you look it up on the chart, you gotta be really careful. And go to 0.95 because this is 95% confidence, and we go to 5. Right? So 95% confidence interval. So this is table 4, and go to 5 degree of freedom. So the answer for that is 2.571. Okay, so we're gonna take 2.571. So this is the T score, the T critical value. So this is the T score. Will be equal to 2.571. Okay. We take that 2.571, we multiply by the sample standard deviation is 15.2, and then we divide it by the radical n. So the radical n that we have is the n equal to, remember, the n equal to 6. When you look at the chart, we go to 5, but when you divide them by the radical n, so it's the n in this case is 6. So we divide by radical 6. And then we're going to do this calculation on calculator. We're going to take 2.571 times 15.2 over square root of 6. Okay, so for this part, we're going to get 15.95. Okay, 15.95. So we finished that part. Right, and after that, what should we do next? Finally, so we're gonna say the 95% confidence interval for the populations. I'm gonna copy down this. Okay, so the mean that we have is x bar minus the error, and then x bar, we add the error. Okay, so all we need to do in this case, the x bar, we haven't touched it, so we're gonna take the x bar. We're gonna take 145 minus 15.95. And then after that, we'll take 145 plus 15.95. And so on this part was something that we're going to take two calculations, 145 minus 15.95. We're going to get the answers, which is 129.05 and 145 plus 15.95. We got the answers 160, right? So to find the answers that we have here is 129.05 and 160.95. And usually, sometimes, the questions ask us to write them down. The 95% confidence interval is here. It's bounded between 129.05 and 160.95. Okay, so sometimes we need to put them down as this. So that'll be 129.05. So the mean divided by the means, and 160.95. Okay, or sometimes we need to write them down at 95% confidence, and then this is what we need to do. So finally, that we're gonna go to not the finally, but usually pretty much the final questions that we have. And so question number 7. Question number 7. So question number 7 will be 15 points on this type of questions. So what is the question number 7 looks like? It would be something that we see on chapter 9, right? So this question going to be 15 points. So that'll be going to be question number 7 on the final. Okay. Okay, so this will be 15 point chapter 9. Chapter 9. This is a new chapter that we haven't have anything tested, but we have a quiz number 5. Chapter 9, 15 points, right? Table number 3 and 3A. Use table 3 and 3A. Depending on this is the left or the right tab. So what we need to do for these questions, again, that we're gonna highlight everything that we see. The X bar equal to 41. The N is the survey of 19 workers, so that the N equal to 19. On the final exam, you gotta be really careful, right? So sometimes the N is sneaky, so we need to figure it out. The standard deviation is 10.2, and then the keyword is more than 36, and then we use the alpha equal to 5%. Okay, so all we need to do for this type of question, you're gonna put down the information, so the N equal to 19. We also have the X bar equal to 41. Remember, the notes can be found on the lecture notes like that. So we can figure out the lecture notes on this part. Okay, so all the note that we have is posted. So you can double check them to see what it is. right? And then, so this is the thing. And then we have the standard deviations is 10.2. And then we also have the keyword is more than 36, right? More than 36. So that would be the keyword for that. Okay, so when we write down the hypothesis, so the hypothesis that we have to start it from HO and H1, right? So the HO and H1 that we very likely should be the things right there. So the HO, again, the first one would be the equal. The second one will be the keyword that we have here. So that'll be more than 36. You put it on the hypothesis, the second hypothesis, so that'd be greater than 36. And the first one equal to 36 right there. And so again, this is a right tail test because it's test on the more than right tail test. So, and now the form that we need to use for step 2 when you compute the statistics is basically the thing that we use for chapter 7. So we're going to take x bar minus the mean and divided by the standard deviations times radical n. Okay, so the x bar that we have here, the x bar that we have here was, the x bar is given as 41. The mean is basically taken from the hypothesis, 36. This is what we're trying to test. And then we divide it by the standard deviations, 10.2. Okay, so that'd be 10.2. And then we multiply by radical n. So the radical n that we have here is 19. So the answer that we have, we're going to use a calculator. Again, we're going to take 41 minus 36. We close the parentheses, and then we divide it by 10.2 again. And then we multiply by radical 19, right? And then we hit equal. So the answer that we got is 2.13 or 2.14. Okay, you round up a little bit to two decimal number. Remember, the z-score have to be capped in 2 decimal places. So that'd be 2.14. And after we compute the z-score, then we're going to go to find the p-value. So the p-values will be equal to the probability of the z, right? Greater than. So why is greater than? Because test on the right tail, so that should be greater than 2.14. And then we read it on chart. We're going to get 2.14 is literally in table number 38. So we're going to get 2.1 and then 0.01234. So that'll be 0.9838, right? So the answer would be 0.9838. But we have to take 1 minus 0.9838. The reason behind that because we have the side greater than, right? 0.9838. So we got the answer, which is 0.0162. And we converted to percentage, which is 1.62%, so that you can compare with the alpha. So the alpha that we haven't write them down, the alpha is 5%. So remember that this is table 3A, right? This is positive. And we go to, we're gonna use table 3A. And finally, you compare with the alpha. So the alpha, I haven't put them down. The alpha equal to 5%. So which one is greater than? So 5% or 1.62%. So because the p-values that we have is 0.162% is greater than the alpha. The alpha that we have is 5%. So we need to we check HO, and we have to state we can't conclude that, right? So we check HO, and then we can conclude it. So this is the alpha. Okay, we reject HO. So when we reject this guy, meaning that you have to accept the other ones. So we finish. So we can conclude it. We can conclude it. The annual income is more than 36. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So we're gonna finish chapter this review on Thursday. So that'll be the last questions. We don't have time to do so, so I apologize for that. So the last question should be sketching the scatter plot and tell me whether it is positive or negative correlation. The question number 8 will be 11 points. We're gonna do it on Monday. Okay, I'm saying on Thursday. I apologize. So, and I hope you guys are going to stay healthy and well, and pretty much like that. All right, I'll see you guys all on Thursday.
Professor?
Yeah.
Please, I was telling you about the sample, the exams.
Yeah.
I did it. So what was it added to my grade? Because I saw that it went up, even though I didn't do well on the sample.
On the sample final exam?
Yeah, I did.
It doesn't matter. It's the practice final exam is just
because I was worried because now
no,
it's
no. It doesn't count. I'm gonna get rid of that.
Now I'm like 266 over 3.
No. It's not. It doesn't count on the
All right. Okay.
Part. So don't worry about that. Okay. The practice final exam is just for practice. Okay. As many practice that we can, so that we can prepare well on the final. So it doesn't count. The only thing that we count it will be the second exam. So we submit the work and see the grade over there.
Yeah, I did already. So because you gave me my grade, I saw it.
All right. So I hope you. I will see you guys back on Thursday, and then we do one more review, and then everything should be good before the final.
All right.
And then we're gonna we also need to get used to the web work that we have right there.
So the final we have to do it on
the web work on a different format. So that so I wish they will show you. There will be the CEO of the website going to tell us what to do. Make an account, and then we're gonna check the grade and whatever it is. So you're gonna get used to the version of that and see what's going on. All right. So take care. I'll see you guys on next this Thursday. Bye bye.